Authors need to sell their books, and in order to sell the books, you have to get in front of more and more and more people. And fortunately, the whole Zoom revolution has made that process so much easier with virtual events. And today you're going to learn how to use virtual events to sell more books so you can help more people. Hi, I'm Dan Janal. I'm a book coach, developmental editor, and ghostwriter. And no matter where you are in the writing process, I can help you write your book and make it better. Now let's get started. Today, our guest is Michael Whitehouse. He's the virtual event guy, and he creates virtual events that don't suck. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much. So let's dive right into it. Why should authors do virtual events, and what is a virtual event in today's world?
So virtual event is the easiest stage to get on, because back in the old days, you wanted to go on a speaking tour, you had to get on a plane or a bus or a car or a train and travel all around this great nation and various other great nations, and then go to hotels and stay there and pack and unpack, and it was really expensive. But now virtual events let you travel the world from your office. So you don't, all that overhead doesn't exist. Virtual events are easier to run because you don't have to rent all this and that. A virtual event, the basic overhead is zero. You may then have marketing costs and funnels and things like that built around it. But the simplest virtual event, where you need a Zoom, you need a Zoom account and you're good to go. So why should you speak on them? Because it's the easiest way to get in front of audiences. And why should you run them? Because the easiest way to get in front of audiences. And the biggest thing I'll say, people only hear one thing about virtual events. They're easier to run than you think. That you don't need to code anything. You don't need to be a tech wizard. You can run a virtual event with like Facebook, and Eventbrite is kind of helpful. There's more advanced tools, but just the basic level, we're talking like Eventbrite and Zoom. Boom, you've got an event. You're ready to go. So don't overcomplicate it. No, you can always do more. There's always more complexity you can go into. But if you're just like, hey, I got 3 friends, let's pitch in together. We'll all promote it to our audiences, and we'll do a 2-hour panel discussion. Boom, put that on Eventbrite, promote it to your audiences through Facebook, show up on Zoom. You got a virtual event.
Okay, and you're reaching more and more people. And the great thing about appearing on other people's virtual events is that you're leveraging their audiences.
Yep.
So what's the best way to reach out and find those audiences that matter to you?
So you want to find events that resonate with you, events that make sense. Now, one of the challenges with virtual interactive events or summits is that the basic model of what a summit is it's a other people's audience joint venture. So joint venture meaning we work together, we collaborate. Other people's audience means you're talking to other people's audiences, as opposed to a purchased audience like Facebook ads or TV ads or billboards. It's affordable because everyone's pitching in their own email lists, so you don't have to pay for ads, but you've got to have an audience to bring to the table. If you have no audience, then that's going to be a challenge. But you can use a virtual event to build an audience. Because if you have a particular audience you want to reach, let's say that women coming out of the workforce and going into entrepreneurship is your target audience. Well, if you find 10 other people who also have that target audience, you build an event, you have all of them promote. You also promote to whatever audience you have, but you're the host. You're hosting the party, and all the people together bring it in. And so that's how you can build a list there. But once you have some list, you see some events like my events, I require my speakers to bring 10 people. I don't need 100 or 200, because to my mind, if you email your massive list, you bring 200 opt-ins, 200 registrations, then they're not necessarily they don't know you. They're people who signed up for your email list at some point to get some freebie or something. It's not the highest quality people. If you have no list and you reach out to 10 of your friends and you're like, hey, I'm speaking on this event. It's for women who are retiring out of the workforce into entrepreneurship. I think that describes you. It'd be great if you could support me, and I think you're going to get a lot out of it as well. You send that message out and you bring 10 people that way. Those are going to be 10 high quality, engaged people. So you don't necessarily need a list, but it's just a matter of finding an event that resonates with you, that aligns to your audience, where your people are going to be, and then bring some people with you. And if you know anybody you can contact, you can bring people with you. It's not about having a 10,000 person email list. And then by being there, you're going to get more exposure. more people get to know you. If you have something set up where with a freebie or a discovery call or something where they can engage with you further, then you can build an audience that way. And that's one of the key ways to use a virtual event to build your audience.
Great. So you're on the virtual event, you're doing your presentation. What's the best way to present yourself so that you can sell more books?
So this is where I get to this phrase, virtual events that don't suck. So when I talk about events that suck, I mean events that feel like I'm sitting here watching a YouTube playlist, non-interactive ones. Because at a non-interactive event, it's basically you're recording a video and hoping, like a podcast. Podcasts are great, but they take a lot less work than speaking on an event. But if I'm at an event, I want to be able to engage with people. So look for events where there is active engagement. All right, my trademark term for that is awesome virtual interactive events. It's all of my events and any other events I come across that also do this, I certify as awesome virtual interactive events. It's events where it's like being in a room with someone. Because unless you're a highly polished speaker who can bring people down the path and create the, do the whole thing, which is something that takes years to perfect, if you've just got an idea, a book, a program, whatever, and you can get in a conversation with someone, then you can get them to say, oh, that's interesting. I'd love to get on a call and learn more. But you've got to get close enough where they meet you as a person, not just a, face on a screen. So with those interactive events, what you want to do is, so first off, go to events where you're on Zoom, not events where it's a Facebook Live or events where it's pre-recorded, because you can't interact. That's one-way communication. If it's an event that's on Zoom, there's things you can do as a speaker, whether it's highly interactive or not, such as when you start, say, hey, could everyone turn on your cameras? I don't like talking to myself. I feel like a crazy person. Turn on your cameras so I know I'm not talking to an empty room. And then partway through, ask people, does anyone have a question? Is anyone going to help you if you have a process that can be done in a couple minutes? I've got this process. Can I get a volunteer from the audience to do it with? And have them, come up, unmute, and actually engage with you. Anything you can do to get an actual human conversation with another human through the internet. This is the mistake a lot of us made. We've gotten virtual and we've become like ghosts in the machine. And we forget that Zoom is just a next level telephone. It's just another way to communicate human to human. It's not about, connecting to you don't connect to the internet. You connect through the internet. So as a speaker, what you want to do is find ways to connect through the internet to the people who are on there. And also, a lot of these events, to my personal opinion, the better events, have breakout rooms. They have networking sessions. A lot of them have a speaker call either before or after. Any place where there is an interactive breakout or networking call or VIP networking session or whatever, be there, because that's where you're really going to get your value. It's not about the 100 people who might watch your video. It's about the 4 people you might have good conversations with. One of them buys from you, 2 of them become joint venture partners, and one of them becomes a mentor. You never know. But it's it won't happen if you don't talk to them. So you've got to find places where you actually get those human interactions through the internet.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's having a one-on-one conversation or conversing with people in the chat really opens up so many more opportunities so that they get to know, like, and trust you. You get to know them a little bit more. You can set up a conversation afterwards, invite people onto your calendar and have a conversation. And some people come and they stay and they become clients, and some people become advocates, and some people, joint venture partners, as you say, and some people just go by the wayside, and that's just life. And why should that be any different than anything else? Are there any mistakes that people make when they're on virtual events or doing events like these? Any faux pas that say, oh my God, he just lost his entire credibility, or now he's trying to sell me stuff? Or what are some of the things that aren't quite obvious that we do?
How long do you have? You mean as speakers, not as organizers, right?
You're right.
Yeah. So you actually touched on one of them, which is overselling. There are events where it's appropriate to sell, but not many. If someone's going to a summit, virtual event, something like that, they're not expecting to get pitched. So in like my events, it's a 15-minute speaking slot. So you don't have time to build the credibility to make an expensive offer. Now, there's some offers that are apparently valuable, so it doesn't feel like you're being pitched something. It feels you're being offered a deal. But unless it's that, you don't want to be, if people have to think about it, then, like, for example, if you're offering an hour coaching session for $50, anyone who knows anything about what coaching costs knows a $50 coaching session. One, they know it's probably going to have a sales pitch at the end, but they also know that normally it would cost more. So, if you can position that, so as I'm thinking about it, maybe $50 coaching call isn't the right end. But so there's some things that are, have apparent value, but if you're not sure, just don't offer something free, and you want to draw them in, because the concept is basically what a funnel is. Funnel gets a bad name because there's so many inhuman funnels. But a funnel is basically you take people from where you have a lot of people and you start to attract their attention, and then you narrow it down to people who are more and more and more interested and closer and closer and closer to you. So the simplest funnel is a Calendly link. It's getting someone on a discovery call. That's the one-step funnel. Calendly link to discovery call. I guess that's 2 steps. But have some way that people can engage with you in an easy way. And discovery call isn't always the easiest, because while it's free and it's fairly easy, a lot of people are intimidated by it. Not even because they think you're going to pitch them on the call, but because they're like, oh, I don't know if I really need what he does, and I don't want to waste his time, and I'm not sure if I'm really in his audience. So people will exclude themselves even if they are people you want to talk to. But give them some easy way to engage with you, and easy way to get into your universe. So that is often, for example, you can get a free copy of my book at guyknowsaguy.com, and you put your email address in there, you get a free copy of my book and the audio book. You also get on my email list. So now you're in my email community. You're going to be getting contacted and learning more about me and my story and what I teach and whatnot. And eventually you may get on a call. Or you may end up working with one of my partners, or you may come to an event or whatever. But it's all because I gave you something super easy to do that wasn't book a call with me or buy a thing. That's too high a step to go to. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see, is making the first step too high. And along those lines, this is sort of tangential, so I'll only brush on it, but inhuman email sequences. So if you're putting someone on your email list, make sure you're providing value to them. Nobody wants to be on a list that's just pitch. If they wanted it, they would have bought it already. So the purpose of an email list is people can get to know you better and better over time. Teach them, share stories, share ideas, tell jokes, invite them to events that don't cost anything, that provide them value. Do things that make them say, oh, Michael's giving something to me by me being here. That's pretty cool. I know him better now. Okay, I like him more now because I'm getting more and more from him. Don't just pitch. Don't just pitch for your partners. You need value there. The other mistake that I see is get to the beef. We were talking about this before the show about bios and how the whole bio you read was what's over my head here. Because people don't want you don't care how I started. You don't care how I started a game store. You don't care what college I went to. You're like, I want the value I came to this video for. Let's get to it. Same thing on an event. I don't care how many kids you have, dogs, boats. I don't care what company you worked for. I don't care how many years of experience you have. In the modern economy, the number of years of experience is a meaningless number, because if you tell me you have 20 years of experience, I'm thinking your knowledge is 20 years out of date. You tell me you started your business 3 years ago. Some people are going to say, oh, you're new. Other people are going to say you're cutting edge. You don't know. So skip over all that. Get to the point and get straight to what I care about. That's why I lead with virtual events that don't suck. Most people have been to virtual events that do suck. So you see that, you're like, oh, I hate virtual events that suck. Tell me about events that don't suck, right? Pulls you right in without knowing anything about me. Get to the point and get to the value you're offering to your client, to your audience.
Perfect. Great ideas. Michael, this has been an excellent conversation. Tell us, who is your ideal client and how can they get in touch with you?
My ideal client is someone who can benefit from getting in front of an audience of 20 to 50 highly aligned people paying attention to them. So this is often, coaches, experts, trainers, people like that. And they can get in touch with me by going to this website here, summits.fun, which anyone who wants to learn about my events, go there as well. There's a big green button at the top of the page that says book a call with me. And so if you go to summits.fun, you click the big green button. It's an oval. Some people don't realize it's a button. Click on that, get on my calendar. Let's talk and see how I can get you on an awesome virtual interactive summit awesome virtual interactive event that most certainly does not suck.
Fantastic. Thank you for being with us today. And thanks everyone for joining us on our podcast. We have more than 175 other videos on this YouTube channel that can help you write your book in a flash. Check them out.